Max Pringle with these headlines. Several states held primary elections Tuesday. Kansas voters overwhelmingly rejected a measure that would have allowed the Republican-controlled legislature to tighten abortion restrictions or ban the procedure outright. It was the first time voters had a chance to weigh in since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June. Voters rejected a change in the Kansas Constitution to ensure that it does not grant a right to an abortion, overturning a 2019 Kansas Supreme Court decision protecting abortion rights. In Michigan, Trump-backed conservative commentator Tudor Dixon won her primary. She'll face incumbent Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer in November in that state's gubernatorial race. In Arizona's Senate primary, Republican Blake Masters won his primary and will face Democrat Mark Kelly this autumn. Masters is a venture capitalist and has endorsed Trump's election fraud lie. Trump-backed conspiracy theorist and election denier Mark Finchem has won the GOP nomination for Arizona's Secretary of State. Finchem is now the sixth election denier across the country to win the Republican nomination for the job that controls election administration in the states. They've all backed efforts to restrict voting rights. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has left Taiwan after a visit that angered Chinese officials. Beijing has responded with live-fire military exercises in the waters surrounding Taiwan, some of which have entirely encircled the self-governing island. Feature Story News' Patrick Falk reports.
Shortly after Nancy Pelosi arrived in Taiwan, the military announced long-range live-firing drills in waters to the east of Taiwan. It also announced exercises that would be taking place on Thursday, which would essentially encircle Taiwan in 6 different locations. But analysts have said that any hostile act seems unlikely, although its response is likely to exceed anything that we've seen in recent years. Importantly, any act of escalation is likely to take place after Nancy Pelosi leaves on Thursday to avoid any confrontation. But certainly President Xi Jinping needs to be seen to be strong on this issue and at least to China's domestic audience.
And that's Patrick Falk reporting. Congress is considering a package this week that could make major new investments in climate change mitigation and major investments in healthcare affordability. Public News Service's Mark Richardson reports.
One study finds from 1970 to 2020, the average American's health care cost rose from $1,875 a year to more than $12,500. Jim Manley with Consumers for Quality Care says the main concern is that out-of-pocket costs are too high, according to a group's new poll. He says Arizonans agree they're getting squeezed by health care costs.
High deductibles, rising out-of-pocket costs, and unpaid medical bills are plaguing American healthcare consumer.
I'm Mark Richardson.
The first grain ship to leave Ukraine since the start of the war with Russia has passed inspection in Istanbul and is heading on to Lebanon. Ukraine says 17 other vessels at its ports are loaded with grain as well and waiting permission to leave, but there was no word yet on when they could depart. Authorities said a joint civilian inspection team spent 3 hours today checking the cargo and crew aboard the cargo ship Razoni. A deal last month involving Ukraine, Russia, Turkey, and the UN aimed to ease world food shortages by creating a safe corridor across the Black Sea. World food prices have been soaring, and the war has blocked exports from Ukraine, a major global grain supplier. California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced Tuesday that tens of thousands of Californian consumers are eligible for restitution following a settlement announced Tuesday in Oakland between the California Department of Justice and RentACenter, a rent-to-own furniture and electronics store. Bonta said the settlement amounts to $15.5 million, and more than $13 million of that will go to consumers who entered into certain lease agreements with RentACenter. Here's Bonta.
RentACenter might claim to offer, as they say in their materials, quote, worry-free guarantee, end quote. But our investigation into their conduct found the opposite to be true. RentACenter caused lots of worries and provided too few guarantees.
According to the complaint, the state investigation centered on RentACenter's kiosk business, which operates in retail stores like Ashley Furniture. Prosecutors allege that the cash price RentACenter charged RentACenter customers was 15% higher than the retail price. And legendary Los Angeles Dodgers broadcaster Vin Scully has died. He was 94. Scully called Brooklyn and LA Dodger games for 67 years before retiring in 2016. Scully's distinctive style and delivery provided many memorable moments over his long career, like this call of a Hall of Fame Dodger pitcher Sandy Koufax's perfect game at Dodger Stadium in 1965.
It is 9:46 p.m. 2-2 to Harvey Keene. One strike away. Sandy into his windup. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. A perfect game.
The Dodgers said Scully died at his home in the Hidden Hills section of Los Angeles. I'm Max Pringle.